Good afternoon and good evening, and to our Australian colleagues, good morning. It's my great honor to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Tommie Mabry. I had the pleasure to serve as Tommie's editor on his recent book, Perspective, The Secret to Student Motivation and Success. While I was reading Tommie's manuscript, I was struck by several things. The first is that he has a deep and thoughtful knowledge of child motivation, a knowledge that is rooted in his own life and professional experience. The second is that he is a master storyteller. And the third is that he has walked the walk as a child with a host of adverse childhood experiences to the accomplishment of earning a doctoral degree. Tommie's own life story is quite extraordinary, and his professional accomplishments are too numerous and varied to recount today. He is an accomplished motivational speaker who captures the hearts and minds of both students and educators. But before sharing Tommie with you live, let's watch the following video introduction.
What's up, dog? Hey, y'all, this is your boy Tommie for, you know me, Tommie for Martin. But I'm not here to talk to you about me. I'm here to talk to you about my little brother, Tommie Mabry. You have got to read this book, A Dog's Journey to a Light Future, and check out the documentary. I'm telling you, this man's life can change your life. I met this young man when he was a senior in high school. He'd been shot. He was a gangster. He was a thug. I watched him turn from man on the street to a great upstanding man of God. I'm telling you, I saw this transformation right before my eyes. And you need to see this. Your family needs to see this. Every young man and young woman need to see this documentary. I'm telling you, Tommie, I just want you to know, brother, I'm proud to say that I am your friend. I'm proud to say I am your big brother. I'm proud to say that I am your mentor. I love you, brother. And remember, you got a job, dog. Ha, 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 ha.
I was kicked out of 10 schools and all. I repeated 8th grade. I got permanent gold teeth in middle school. So I started tattooing my body at a young age. That was cool to my environment. That's the fight, that's the acceptance I was fighting for. That's what got the praise in my neighborhood. I wanted to be like that. I got locked up my 5th grade year for breaking in the state fairground. The judge told me in 5 years I'd be dead or locked up. And you would think that that'll stop me right then, but it didn't. I was fighting for acceptance. You was lame in my neighborhood. If you pulled your pants up, sad to say, you was lame in my neighborhood. If you had your book bag on. In my neighborhood, sometimes you only have 3 options. It's either you're gonna sell drugs, you're gonna play sports, or you're gonna rap. And I played basketball. I was ranked in the country. I was getting recruited by all these colleges. In second period, 10 o'clock, freak accident. Only if I'd have stayed in school. I walked out to school in the neighborhood with my friends and got shot in my foot. When I got shot, nobody came to visit me. I laid on that bed by myself. And everything in my mind was just telling me, like, everybody supports you when you're at your highest. But when you're at your lowest, you'll see who actually in your corner. I'm just laying on that bed and I'm like, if God can give me one more chance at this, I separate myself from the environment, but I learned something. In order to get something you never had, you gotta do something you never did and become a person you never been. look back at that 8th grade Tommie, I just wish I could have told him then, like, man, keep going, be patient, man, keep going. It's gonna turn around soon.
You need the bubble wrap. No.
Yo,
Wait, don't open it yet.
Man, I'm so nervous. I just always wanted to know what that felt like to break those barriers, to open that degree, and know that you holding possibilities in your hand.
Give me the bubble wrap. I'm so excited. She's so excited. Oh, bubbles.
My children, I want them to see that their dad never quit. How you all doing? Please listen, who benefit from your existence? I'm so excited today. You all got to see the passion before I even get started. I am so excited to be amongst you all. Why? Because you all are superheroes. Listen, this is why I call you all superheroes. Teaching is the only profession that creates all professions. Let that sink in. Teaching is the only profession that creates all professions. You all are superheroes to me. You all should be the highest paid individuals in the country. I admire you all. You know what gets me angry when I hear people say, oh, my teachers are not doing this. Those educators are not doing that. First of all, what gives you the audacity? What gives you the audacity to talk? Miss Howard from Waynesboro, what gives them the audacity to say that our teachers are not doing this and not doing that? See, you all are superheroes. How many times you walk into Walmart or Kroger or any store and you see your previous students and they just run up to you and they say, if it wasn't for you. See, you all are superheroes, but guess what? This is the thing right now. Who benefit from your existence? Who benefit from you walking into that classroom? You all matter. Never walk into that building like you're insignificant. No matter what's your role in the school, anytime you're around a child, it's a teaching moment. When I say it's a teaching moment, see, this is where we're talking about perspective. Perspective drive performance. The way you view what you do gonna always determine how you do what you do. It's the way you view it first. And it's something about perspective that I love. You see, perspective is different from mindset. Mindset's altered by your moves. Today, I feel like working out. My mindset is go out there and get engaged and get the work. But tomorrow, my mindset may change. See, that's a bandage fix, but a perspective shift is totally different. Perspective is made up of your morals, your beliefs, your values, your lived experience. So in order to shift a kid perspective, you got to understand it first. You got to understand them from their linear. You got to understand them from their essence. See, understanding kids from their perspective, it enhances your perspective as a teacher, but you got to understand you matter. When I say never walk into that building like you're insignificant, let me explain to you who had the biggest role on me in the school system. It was the custodian. Listen, I could have said the superintendent. I could have said the principal, but listen, I had a custodian. Watch this. This janitor, he knew all my skip spots, and I was good at that. I had the best skip spots you can name, but it's this one male that used to come to every spot I would skip class at, and he'll say, young man, every time I see your name on that cut slip, every time I know that you cut in class, I'm coming to find you. And every day I'd be like, oh, he gonna find every spot that I'm at. He used to talk to me, give me these talks every day. He'll tell me, young man, when I was in school, I messed up and I'm not letting you do that on my watch. See, when you get people like that, see, his perspective was totally different. He understood that anytime he around a child is a teaching moment. Anytime you're around a child is a teaching moment. So from his perspective, he was in school working for outcome, not income. He was working for outcome, not income. He came in with a whole different kind of perspective. See, I told you perspective drive performance. It's how you view what you do. How you view what you do will always determine how. It's your perspective of education. See, I think you all are superheroes. And you know what? The pandemic showed me why you all should be the highest paid individuals in the country. Somebody just said building relationships. That's how building relationships. Understanding students from their core, understanding why kids do what they, understanding them. Let me explain something to you. I had a cafeteria worker. Before the principal suspend me, she'll say, please, can you please just let them come to the cafeteria? Let them clean the floors. And I'm thinking to myself, now that I'm older, see, her job was to be a vessel to me. She didn't come in and think about preparing the food. She said, anytime I'm around a child, it's a teaching moment. She said, before you suspend Tommie, could he please come to the cafeteria so he can clean up and let me minister to him, let me talk to him? See, that's a different kind of perspective. Because she understood when you suspend me, now you got to understand me from my essence. School was the only place that I felt that I was walking into fear. School was not a safe haven for me. School was fear. That was the only place that I felt incompetent. School was the only place that I had to fight for my acceptance. School was the only place that I didn't get the haircuts that all the other students received. I didn't have the shoes that everybody else had on. See, I was adapting every day I walked into that building. My comfort zone was in the neighborhood. I couldn't stand school. I didn't like school. So when you give me 10 days at home, you gave me a vacation. My defense mechanism was if I act up in class and the teacher would kick me out of class, that wasn't my comfort zone. My safe haven was at home. So if you give me 10 days at home, see, understanding us from our perspective, that's why I love the fact that I've been a student before and I've been a teacher before, because I understand how far a relationship can go. A relationship, it's the difference between significance and success. Success is when you add value to yourself. You go publish with Corwin, you do some amazing things, that's great. But significance is when you add value to others. Significance is when you add value to others. Success is when you add value to yourself. I'm talking about how can you add significance to others who benefit from your existence, who benefit from you walking into that classroom. I had a 6th grade teacher who understood this. She said, relationship, trust, and success. Okay, Miss Susan, relationship, trust, and success. That's all run together. I had a 6th grade teacher who understood the relationship between me and her. It would determine my success. Watch this. Now that I'm old enough, Susan, I'm going to use what you just said. Now that I'm old enough, I understand that my 6th grade teacher at times, she was running reverse psychology on me the whole time. And I didn't even understand it until I got older. Every day I walk in her class, she'd say, young man, you would be amazing today. I'd be like, wait a minute, no, I'm not. But every day I walked in that class, she told me I would be amazing today. That's a lifetime for me. It took 1 second to tell that kid you would be amazing. I'm 34 years old and I'm talking about my 6th grade teacher. That is significance because she understood if she don't reach my self-esteem first, she can't get me to learn. You got to reach their self-esteem first. It's called activation over education. Write that down. Activation over education. Activation over education means this. You got to activate first, then you can educate. Because if you don't reach my self-esteem level, you can't get me to learn. So when we get a debit card in the mail, this is what this looks like. And I want you all to write it in the chat. When you get it, there you go, activation over education. When you get a debit card in the mail, no matter how much money you got in the bank, you can't use that card until you do what with it? I just want to see somebody write it. No matter how much money you got in the bank, you can't use that card until you do what with it? Activate. There we go. No matter how much money you got in the bank, you can't use it until you activate it. No matter how much potential our kids got inside, they can't use it until they are activated. You got to activate them first. Once you pull that script back, we're talking about relationship building. Once you pull that script back on the back of that card and you activate that kid, and when you activate that student, then he would, listen, if you get them engaged, if you get them excited about being in your building, if you get them excited about being in that classroom, school shouldn't feel like I was sentenced to 12 years in education. School's supposed to be fun. School shouldn't feel like I was sentenced to 12 years in education. What do normal kids say why they don't like school? They say it's boring, but it is boring. Think about what they are comparing it to. That's why I wrote the book Perspective, because it's not about our perspective, it's understanding kids from their perspective. Once you change the lens and put your lens on their faces, and you can understand how they see school. Because if you can't shift their perspective, it's a difference between your model kid and your more challenging kid. Why? Mom got a master's, dad got a doctorate. The expectations in certain houses are totally different. But how you deal with that kid who says school is not for me? How you deal with that kid who said, I don't like school? If a kid views school like it's a waste of time, when he say that I don't like school, he view your classroom like it's a waste of time. It's about how can we shift his perspective. The difference between an achiever and a non-achiever is the way that they view it. We are not talking about ability. We're talking about effort. So when you think about effort, if a kid don't want to be in your building, if you as an adult don't feel like going to work, it's all perspective. If you don't feel like it, so your effort don't come with you. The difference between the two students, one views school different. I go to the prisons and I speak a lot. Everywhere I'm doing a professional development at, if I'm speaking to kids, I'm on tour now. So I'm traveling the country every day. Every time I leave a school, I'm going to somewhere. I got to go to the youth detention center. I had one guy and I went in his cell. Watch our perspective work. And I'm asking him, every time he said something to me, he said, no, sir, yes, sir. I said, why are you here? He said, man, I always been smart. He said, but my perspective was never good about school. I said, wait a minute, I got something, because your perspective is made up of your morals, your beliefs, your values, your lived experience. You can't ignore that. Understand something. The difference between me and you all is our perspective. It's not that I'm right and you wrong. It's just that we view life different. The difference between our disagreements and our agreements, they all come from our perspective. It's not that you're wrong and I'm right. We just view it different. So the young lady or the young man that come to school who view school like this is my way out, I got to go to school to get this and that, then that kid views school different from the kid like me who viewed school like it was a waste of time. But now it's about how you shift my perspective. And he drew a picture of me in jail. It's in my book, Perspective. You all gotta get this. He drew a picture of me. He gave me a colorful shirt. I said, young man, how did you get color ink in jail? He said, man, I mixed some watercolors together. I said, hold up, man, time out. You getting ready to show me how innovative you are? You getting ready to show me how creative you are? I said, they had to give you 23 hours of lockdown and 1 hour of rec for you to realize how intelligent you are. He said, man, I always been smart. It's just my perspective. He said, my perspective was never good about school. Another guy was doing tattoos in the same cell. And if you see some of the tattoos that these guys are doing in jail, it's off the roof. I'm talking about brilliant work. I said, well, how you get, because he had a stump pad, and this is a stump pad. When you put your foot on it, it say, and when you take your foot off, it cut off. I said, man, how you get that in here? He said, man, I hot wired some stuff. I said, hold up, man, time out, stop. You getting ready to show me how you created a whole machine in jail? I said, but they give you that on the outside, young man. I said, do you really know how intelligent, how smart you are as a person? He said, man, my perspective, and I kept going somewhere where I'm like, okay, perspective. Because if we fail to educate them, we incarcerate them. If we fail to educate them, we incarcerate them. From their perspective, they just couldn't understand why Y equals MX plus B even mattered to their lives. I was talking to a young lady the other day, and I was trying to convince her that school is for you and you should go to college and you should do this. She said, why do I need college, sir? She said, my mom is a bartender. She said, my mom makes $2,000 a week. I said, oh, you got me there. I said, you got me there, $2,000 a week. But from her perspective, she grew up in a house like me. We didn't talk about education in my house. We didn't talk about going to college in my house. You know what we talked about? When you turn 18 years old, you better go get a what? And I just want to see somebody write it. Well, this is how we communicated. A job. There we go. From a job, Karen, a job, a good job. Come on, Rivers, a good job. Right. Like, so from her perspective and from his perspective, they couldn't understand why the Pythagorean theory and please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, the good stuff, right? They couldn't understand why that, how could that help them in their today's situation? Because some of those kids got limited gratification. They only see life as a right now. So if you can't get them excited about being in your classroom, if you can't get them excited about learning, you got to help their families. You need to help, like some of those kids, watch this, families, watch this, perspective. And I'm gonna get back to my 6th grade teacher, but watch this, help their families. Watch this. I love who just wrote that. Watch this. I was doing a professional development at a school, and this breaks me down every time I talk about this. I almost get in tears when I talk about this. I was doing a professional development, and I walked through this metal detector, and a kid walked behind me. And you all, listen, when he walked behind me, the metal detector went off. And they grabbed his bag and they searched his bag. They never found what made the metal detector go off. But when they searched his bag, he had a bag full of candy. And he said, "Sir, I need that bag back." He said it real calm the first time. They said, "No, you can't come in with the candy. We got to compensate the bag." He said, "No, I need that bag back." And he got aggressive. They said, "No, he broke the metal detector with his bare hands." And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him like, wait a minute, I've seen that face before. I come from that environment. I've seen that face before. He broke the metal detector with his bare hands. The principal said, "Get him out of here. He's suspended." I said, wait. You all stop. And I broke him down. I said, "Well, look, man, what does that candy mean to you?" He said, "You wouldn't understand in a million years." I said, "No, I get it, but apparently they don't." I said, "What does that candy mean to you?" He would start breaking out in tears. I said, "Look, man, please tell me, what does that candy mean to you? Because I understand, but apparently they don't." I said, "Tell them what that candy means." And what came out his mouth, you all, listen. He said, "If I don't bring that profit home, I don't make rent." The whole room shifted. He said, "If I don't bring that profit home, I don't make rent." And I'm not easy to convince. So we called mom on the spot. Mom validated everything this kid said. She said, she told him, "You the man of the house." I said, "How dare you? How you put that kind of responsibility on a kid?" This kid was 6th grade, sixth grade. I am 34 years old, you all. If I don't bring mortgage home, it's big for me. He was 6th grade and mom told that kid, "You the man of the house." He said, "Sir, my mom is on food stamps, sir." He said, "My mom get her EBT card and she the candy lady in the neighborhood. And what she doesn't sell, I bring it to school and that's my part of the rent." I broke down crying because I said, "You are the man of the house." In my mind, he said, "I make $20 a day, sir." He said, "At the end of the week, that's $100, but at the end of the month, that's like $400. I almost broke down and I paid for that candy." But I went to the principal. I said, "Did you know that situation?" He started crying. He said, "I had no clue." That's a problem to me. So I went to the assistant principal. I said, "You was on duty also." I said, "Did you know that situation?" She said, "No, sir." That is a problem. My problem was this. I didn't expect them to know every kid that walked into that building, but this kid didn't have a relationship with nobody in the building. I went to the homeroom teacher and I went to the counselor. I said, "This is your area now. This is your area. The social work, this is your area." I said, "Did you know that situation?" Because when you think about ACEs and trauma and how ACEs affect the hippocampus, how it leads to toxic stress, and toxic stress is a structural alteration in your brain, and that controls memory loss, cause and effect, and you wondering why certain kids are coming in and you feel like they should know how to reason and how to do this. No, because research show different. They say a normal male brain is not fully developed till he's 24. I'm 34, so I just made it. But from his perspective, he was coming to work just like the teacher. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, Abraham Maslow theory, the hierarchy, the special needs of a kid. He said the longer a person go unfed, the hungrier that person get until a need is fulfilled, that kid can't operate in a certain capacity. That's not me, that's theory. Come on, Bloom's taxonomy. Come on, and I'm like, you wonder why he come in school and he disengaged? The situation is bigger than him. That's why I said I love that book, Perspective, because perspective allows you to enhance your perspective by understanding the root cause to why that kid is not engaged, why this kid is dealing with situations. If we don't, my sixth grade teacher, and my sixth grade teacher were good at this. Every day I walked into that classroom, she would tell me I would be amazing, but when she get to the board and she started working on her work on the board, she'd say, who can come to the board? No, matter of fact, my star student, come on up here, Tommie. I'd be like, oh, she gonna do this every day. Every day. See, she differentiated in a whole nother way. Like, but I knew when I went home, when kids know that you care, when they know that you care, they would fight for you. I would go home and just prepare just for her class. And you know what all the other teachers would say? Oh, why he don't do that in my classroom? Oh, you babying him. No, it's not that. It's empathy. Watch this. Ooh, Ann. Come on, Ann. Empathy. Google empathy. Empathy means the ability to understand. The ability to understand. That's what we actually, empathy. Star student. I love it. Come on. Empathy is the ability to understand kids from their perspective, from their core. Like, it's something about when you have empathy for a kid. I'm not asking you to have pity for a kid. I'm asking you to have empathy, and that's the difference. I still want you to raise the benchmark. I still want the benchmark to be raised, but understanding that all kids are not the same. Like, the quote used to say something like, treat all kids the same. No, all kids are not the same. A lot of kids, they come in with, you need to give them different attention. And my sixth grade teacher understood if she didn't reach my self-esteem, and let's get practical. How you do that? You give me position in the classroom. You show me that you see me. And I love the acronym SPED. Watch this. I love special ed for a lot of reasons, because special ed is a service, not a classroom. Like understand something. Special education is a service, not a classroom. I love SPED. Watch this, the S in SPED. See them. The P, provide for them. E, educate them. And the D, direct them. But it's something about when you see them. Let's start with the S, see them. I'm not saying to look at them. I'm saying to see them. See, when you see a kid, it's something, kids act up a lot because they want attention. But when you see them, come on, I love that, Melissa. See them, provide for them, educate them, direct them. But it's something about when you see a person, you see within, you see what they could be. You see them for something that they are not before they was. But it's something about when you see them, okay, but provide for them. I'm not asking you to provide money. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about providing a space so this kid can operate. If this kid is good with his hands and he loves to draw, provide a safe haven, provide a space that I can operate in my gift. Because if you get him in his gift and you get him excited about his passion, he would do math. He would do science. You got to provide for them. But it's something about when you educate them or encourage them. You can use educate or encourage them. Watch this. It's something about when you encourage a kid. When she told me you would be amazing today, when my sixth grade teacher told me that, it's something about my self-esteem. I come in a classroom with this confidence level now, but it's something about when you direct them. You gotta aim them in a direction you want them to go in. You gotta aim them in a direction. Certain kids don't know about FAFSA. They don't know how to go online and apply for colleges. You gotta direct them. That's daily. That's a daily assignment. And now that we've had the pandemic, let them know that you genuinely care. That you genuinely care. But when you direct them, what you showing them, this is the blueprint. This is the path. I know nobody in your family ever done it before. I know you don't come from a certain environment, but the best two things you can ever give a kid is vision and hope. When you give them vision and hope, because if you don't give them vision and hope, you don't give them something to wake up to, it is a disconnect. So you got to find out how to, that's why I said I love that I've been that kid. And I've been that student before, but my sixth grade teacher understood what my SPED acronym means: to see them, provide for them, educate them, and direct them. And I was just telling a lady the other day, sometimes we feel like educators are not human, because I know you all are human. You all are human. I know you burnt out. I know a lot of you all like my daughter's 9 and 5. I get tired of telling them to do the same thing over and over. So I can imagine, and those are my kids, but you coming to school every day and you dealing with kids that's not yours. But from your perspective, they are yours. That's why I said I love the book. But from your perspective, they are yours. Let me show you why. You got to understand every day that you walk into that building, you matter. You matter. I see my daughters in the morning from 6 to 7, maybe. In the afternoon, my daughters go to gymnastics, after school program, swim. That means I see my daughters again from 6 to 7 or 8, and I'm putting my daughters to bed. That means I've already saw my daughter that day for 3 hours. You all see my daughter for 8 hours a day, 8 hours a day. You know what I tell parents when I'm doing parental engagements? You all should be the teacher's biggest advocate. She raising your kid. You build intention with the same person that's raising your kid. You got to show more respect for them. And I had to tell a principal last week, I was doing a professional development. I saw somebody on here from Phoenix. I was just in Phoenix doing a district-wide PD, right? And this is what I've explained to principals. One day I was doing a professional development, and all the teachers called this principal the kingpin. I said, wait a minute, man, why they call you the kingpin? I said, you sell drugs? Why they calling you the king? He said, no, I'm kingpin. I said, oh, he said, because I write them up. And he said it with so much pride. I said, how is that working for you? I said, because all you're doing is building tension between you and your teachers. You need them on the front line with you. And you so prideful that you writing them up. Like right now is a teacher shortage in a lot of places, and you writing them up, and you coming in with this perspective, and you want people to feel like, I said, no, that's the wrong perspective. It should be Teacher Appreciation Week every week. This is not a monthly thing. You should be happy that you got a person in your building that's coming to work every day. You should be happy you have a certified teacher and you got people that's really in your building trying to make sure our kids are developing. And you prideful on the fact that you writing them. Listen, all of this is perspective. You got to get the book because this book is different. This is not a sale point. If you see me, y'all, I'm sweating. Like, I'm so passionate about this area because I know how far one can go. I know to reach a kid like me, like a kid that, like, I come from an environment where nobody in my family finished high school before me. Let me get personal with you all. Nobody in my family. I came from a broken home. When I tell you why I come from a broken home, my mom and dad were broken. Now that I'm old enough, I can understand something. My mom and dad, they were doing the best they could with what they had. I'm old enough now to understand that it really wasn't personal. I used to fault them for why I didn't get what everybody else did. Why I had to go through this and I see my peers and they didn't go through it. My mom and dad were broken. Listen, cultural poverty is passed from generation to generation through learned behaviors. Like learned behaviors. Let me make sure I'm in the right room before I get deep into my story. What does learned behaviors look like? Because this is what put you all at a disadvantage before the school day even start. This is why I call you all superheroes. You got to be called to be an educator. Everybody just can't come in and say, I'm gonna be a teacher. No, you got to be called to be this. You can't come in. Listen, we expect for you all to be almost perfect. That's the outside. But I know you all are human. That's why I have empathy for teachers. Because if you've never been in a classroom before, if you never walked those halls, please don't speak lightly of my educators. Please don't. But learn behaviors. Watch this. This is why perspective is everything. Because you got to understand this when you walk into that building. And I want you all to get ready to write this in a chat because I want to see this. This is what learned behaviors look like. I came from an environment where they said, I see Ms. Webb, Yolanda. I came from an environment, they said, if somebody hits you to do what? I just want to see the right. I just want to see you put it in the chat. If somebody hits you, I need, look at, ooh, I am in the right environment. Everybody, hit them back. Ooh, I know this. I know I'm with the right group today. Hit them, right. Watch this. And this adults, watch this. Hit them back. I'm just reading. Hit them back. That's learned behaviors. My dad told me this. If somebody said, hit them harder. Listen, my dad said, if you leave with those shoes, you come back with those shoes. You leave with that bike, you come back with that bike. It's 4 of my brothers in the house. If they found out, but watch this. This is what the rule states, though. This is why I said perspective, defend yourself. But the rule states, and we adults, and we all wrote that. That means none of you all would allow me to just hit you and you won't hit me back. But the rule states if somebody hits you to walk away from a fight. Come on now, perspective. Watch this. The rule states now as adults, we are asking kids to do something that we wouldn't do. And I'm not asking you all to bend the rules. My main objective is to make sure you understand kids from their perspective. That's why I wrote it. From you asking kids to do the hardest thing in the world, you asking them to do something that's beyond. You know what happens when I walk away from a fight? You know how many fights that put me in? You asking me to do something that's not even like, come on now. If I walk away from a fight, do you know the neighborhood that I stay in? How many other fights that put me in because I did exactly what you told me to do and you don't go home with me? You don't have my protection at home? When they find out that I'm easily to pick on? How many? I watched this kid that did exactly what we told him to. He walked away from a fight. This video got 100 million views. 100 million views. He walked away from a fight and they hit him all the way up the street. They hit him all the way up the street. He committed suicide. But I understood him from his perspective. Not that I'm promoting it, but do you know he can't walk in no neighborhood and he done went viral? And everybody taking his money in the restroom now. Everywhere he go, they identify him with the video that got 100 million views. It's hard for a young man to cope with that. Come on, ACEs and trauma. And what that does, like that's a real thing. One more story before I get into my story, because this story breaks me down every day. I wish I would have never opened this video. I was speaking out of town and I just get almost 100 text messages. And I opened this video, you all, and this broke me down from my hometown. This was a month ago, 2 months ago. This young lady left the high school around 10 o'clock. She walked out the school, you all, and she went to the overpass of the highway. I just heard traffic. I got a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old, you all. I'm not a perfect dad, but I'm a present dad. I love my daughters. She stood over the overpass, and in the video, I heard traffic just going. And the lady, she screamed and she said, please don't jump. Traffic was just moving. If I was there, I would have gave my life. I would have gave my life for her. She said, please don't jump. And the young lady, she just let go. You all, I ask myself daily, what gotta happen for you to get to that point? What gotta happen for you to get to that point that you say enough is enough and I can't live no more? You don't understand what our kids are going through. If you can't understand them from their perspective, she made her decision that day. She made up in her mind, I don't want to live another day. And she was high school, man. I got beautiful daughters. I almost get emotional, you all, just talking about this, though. Because if I was that teacher and you walked out of my class, I probably couldn't teach another day. I'm thinking about why you all are superheroes. This is why you all mean so much to me, because you all are raising our kids. They said it takes a village to raise a child. How many of you all heard it takes a village to raise a child? But I want to ask you, what if the village corrupt? What if the village corrupt? Because if it takes a village to raise a child, and yes, it does, but what if the village corrupt? I see kids 13 and 14 years old, judge gave them 90 years in prison. Our kids are destroying the neighborhood. And the way that times are right now, you can't say nothing to them because social media, listen, you can't be scared of the people you serve. You can't be scared of the people you serve. I remember where that quote came from. I remember when my grandparents would tell me, and my mom and dad would tell me when they were young, if they get into any trouble before they make it home, the Sunday school teacher would already give them a whooping. I'm thinking like, wait a minute, I'm not asking you all to whoop your kids, the kids. But what they was telling me is that that quote stood on accountability. I need you all. I get angry when I hear parents say, don't tell me how to raise my kid. Yes, you need me to tell you how to raise. I need help. We can't do this ourselves. I need much help. I got daughters too. I need all you all help. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying. But if I had a community every time I drop my kid off at school, every day that I leave and go to work, that I got a community out there that's raising my kid and would do what I would do, that's where we that's the quote. It takes a village because you need help. Bad company is what corrupt character. Bad company, corrupt character. You know how many times I hear parents around this country that tell me, I didn't raise him like that. And no, you didn't raise him like that. But when he leave your house, if a person have his ear, they got his influence. You can't be a perfect parent, but you can be a present parent. If 100 people then gave up on your kids, don't you make 101. That's my message to them. But I'm so passionate about this field of education because I hated school. I was kicked out of 10 schools, you all. Let me get personal. I watched my mom and my dad fight at night. And I got to go to school the next day, and I got to try to cope with that. I don't like moving furniture to this day. I was moving furniture the other day, and I almost broke down in tears. I didn't even know I was still kind of traumatized. We was evicted from so many homes growing up. We moved every week. We was evicted from so many homes. It was 6 of us in that house, 6, 8 including my mom and dad, and I'm the youngest. My mom and dad got divorced when I was in 3rd grade. I caught the bad part of their relationship. That's separation anxiety. When you think about ACEs, and when you go look at ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, and what that says about a young male or a young female, if you have a 7 or an 8 in your ACE score, that leads to poor academic outcomes. I didn't understand that. Mental health issues is serious. I didn't understand this coming home from school and see all our furniture on the lawn. We've been evicted from so many places, and I got to go to school the next day and try to cope with that. The young lady next door to me, you know, when you are young and you're from certain environments, they say, you're going to marry her when you grow up. We was the same in age group. I watched her get murdered. Drunk driver killed her instant. And I got to go to school the next day and try to cope with that. You know, the way my mom and dad communicated with us and communicated amongst each other, they cursed to get their point across. The way that my mom and dad cursed us out, but loved us at the same time, that was the way they communicate. But I went to school and I felt like that's how you get your point across. My language, my aggressiveness, I demonstrated that in school. It's harder for young kids because this is the age where they are more vulnerable. That's research show you why K-5 and K-3 is the most important years in a kid development. Albert Bandura, I studied him in my early childhood days. I got a master's in early childhood. Albert Bandura stated that kids learn from observational learning. They don't learn from what you tell them, they learn from what you show them. I took all of that behavior to school and showed back up. I hated school. I've been through so much, you all. I was kicked out of 10 schools, 7 elementary schools and 3 middle schools. I got locked up my 5th grade year, 5th, for breaking and entering. The judge told me in 5 years, you'll be dead or locked up. Be careful how you prophesied over a kid because they grow up to believe it, good or bad. I hated school. It was nothing about school. I didn't want to be in that place. My anxiety level, every time I'm sitting in that chair and I'm hoping that the teacher don't ask me to stand up and read, I thought it was smart to be dumb and dumb to be smart, understanding me from my perspective. From my neighborhood, if you're sitting up straight with your book bag on, people call you lame in my neighborhood. That's why I thought it was smart to be dumb and dumb to be smart. Those are brilliant kids. But every day they walk into that building, they fighting for acceptance. But if you can't understand them from their perspective, to understand that in their essence, in their core, they are really great kids. But you got them amongst people that they are fighting for acceptance. I was a teacher in the school district, right? My duty post was in front of the building. I watched this kid get out the car and kiss his mom and said, "Mwah, Ma, I love you." She said, "Do great today." And he said, "Yes, ma'am." She pulled off. He came to me and he pulled his pants down. And he pulled his pants down. I said, "No, no, no. You got to pull those back up." I said, "I watched what you just did." And you said, "Yes, ma'am." Like, I get it, sir. I understand you getting ready to walk into an environment where now you kind of forced to be different. Cyberbullying and everything, now our kids are forced to be different. Bad company is what corrupt character. Like, I was fighting for acceptance. That judge told me in 5 years I'd be dead or locked up. I couldn't get attention from nothing else. So I tattooed my whole body. If you see my image, I love this person though. Like, let me tell you something. I love this guy. I used to get judged my entire life. People always told me, "You'll never amount to nothing. You're gonna be just." I don't have a family member to ever go to college in my entire family. No aunties, uncles, nobody ever went to college before me. I'm first generational, everything. And I'm the baby boy in my family. And I'm probably the youngest cousin in my age group. I never saw a model before. Like, I had people to tell me, I tattooed my whole body when I was a kid. I had permanent gold teeth in middle school. Not something you can take out. I had to have surgery some years ago to get my golds taken out. So imagine me in your middle school. Like, nothing about school was impressive to me, but I was fighting for acceptance, you all. I made it to middle school. I was kicked out of 3 middle schools. That's 10 schools in all. I repeated 8th grade. I'm telling you why I'm so passionate about this field of education, why I wrote the book Perspective, because I've been that kid before. You looking at your student. So I'm telling you how to reach him, how to engage him. You got to understand that guy. You got to understand if you never had a model before, if you don't know where you come. You all telling me I can be a lawyer, a doctor, an astronaut. I haven't seen an astronaut yet, and I'm 35 years old. I never walked in Kroger and said, "Hey, you work for NASA." Not telling you're supposed to tell him he can be amazing. You're supposed to tell that kid you're going to be an astronaut, because if you don't tell him, I told you the best 2 things you can tell him is give them is vision and hope. But empathy and understanding where they come from, understanding them from their perspective, is not a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or a principal stay next door to me. Now it's time to get personal. You know where I stay at? It's not a lawyer or a doctor, an anesthesiologist. You know where I stay at? You wonder why I want to rap, sell drugs, or play sports? Because sometimes I feel like those are the only 3 options I got. Do you really know where I stay at? And I love my environment. I love these neighborhoods because it's some brilliant people, but you got to understand something. I don't see a way out like you see it. But if you understand where I come, do you know what I got to walk through to get to school? Do you know what I encountered last night? And I'm in a school every day. Do you know the messages I get? Do you know what I'm seeing dealing with young ladies and young guys? If you really understood, I see some stuff that break me down daily. Our kids are dealing with so much right now. Like, but you wonder why he want to rap, sell drugs, or play sports. He feel like that's the only way out. The objective is to get out of the neighborhood, right? But I watch how he got out. Are you listening to the rap music? Are you listening to what they telling them? It's almost a testimony. They showing them what they had to do to survive. You wonder why they gravitate to it? They talking about my life. That's why I love listening to it, because you're giving me the objective. Like, I'm listening to it because that looked familiar to me. And I know what basketball did. I watched that. Basketball gave me a way out. You can't take sports away from them, because if you take sports away from them, they would have tore that building up a long time ago. Basketball was a vehicle to help me get out of the neighborhood. And I know what drugs get me. I know the acceptance he get for it. And you trying to sell school on me? You telling me to go to school for 12 years and then go back to school and do 4 more years and then go do 4 more, and I got a limited gratification? I can't see life outside of today. And I'm trying to help him and do all of this. And my mom said I'm the man of the house. And my perspective, I hate school. That's why I got pillars in my book to show you how my first 5 chapters is how to enhance your perspective. But my last 5 is how to enhance their perspective. You got to get them engaged. You got to get them excited about being in your classroom. Because if he's not excited, his effort don't come. Telling you all. Made it to high school. It got real. I was a standout ball player. I repeated 8th grade. Come on, let me reflect. Kicked out of 10 schools, repeated 8th grade, got locked up my 5th grade year. Made it to high school. I was ranked in the country. I could play basketball. I was good at that now. I was averaging 20 points a game. Colleges flying in, telling my dad they wanted to sign me. I'm the first in my family to get a scholarship. All the colleges flying, we want him. And then I got shot, you all. I've been through everything. I've been through so much. I got shot second period, 10 o'clock, freak accident. I got shot second period, 10 o'clock. I skipped school, went to the neighborhood. My friend got shot me. Out of all the people, my friend got. That's why when I come to your school and I speak to those, go to my YouTube, go to my Facebook, my Instagram. You see the video, you see the kids just break down when I'm there. Because I know this life. I've been there. I had to explain to them, my friend got shot me. I knew I was shot too. I'm sitting by the car. He dancing. He had a gun in his pants. He danced, did a move. The bullet went off in his pants, shot me in the foot, the same foot that I jumped off. When I tell you I've been through so much, I was getting recruited for my left foot. I got shot in my left foot. I'm explosive. I jump off my left foot. I dunk and I elevate off my left foot. I had a bullet in my left foot and I cried. I'm telling you all, a bullet feels so bad. That was the worst day of my life. All the scholarships I had got revoked. When I tell you I've been through so much, I had a 1.8 GPA. Follow me, 1.8 GPA with a 14 on my ACT my senior year. And I got a bullet in the same foot that I jump off. The colleges revoked my scholarship. They said, not only do you got a 1.8 GPA, but we wanted the same foot you got shot in. That was the worst day of my life. I went in that hospital to hear this, the worst conversation you could ever have with a parent. Please get to the doctor, your son been shot. My dad cried. My dad said, my son at school, my son is getting recruited. You all, I laid on that bed and nobody came to visit me. That was the worst day in my life. But in order to get something you never had, you got to do something you never did and become a person you never been. Ms. Musgrove, in order to get something you never had, you got to do something you never did and become a person you never been. The hardest thing I ever had to do in life was sacrifice my friendships. In order to get in a better shape, you got to get out the circle you in. Perspective. That bullet was the best thing ever happened to me because it shifted my perspective. That's why I told you perspective. Until you can shift, it's sad to say that a bullet had to shift my perspective. But if that bullet wouldn't have never came, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. I don't take nothing away from my journey because my past is what made my future. I didn't know how to, I didn't know even when I made it to college. I didn't know what a adjective was. I didn't know what a pronoun was. I couldn't write a complete sentence in college. I couldn't write a complete sentence in college. I had a 1.8, and they don't teach that in college. They don't teach you. My first day in college, my professor said, you would never get a degree from this college writing like that because I was writing a letter you, like you. And I'm not ashamed to tell you all that because if you think about it, I'm Dr. now though. I'm Dr. now though. But I came from a hard road, you all, 1.8. I was blessed to get back on the court. I separated myself from all my friends. I told you, in order to get something you never had, you got to do something you never did and become a person you've never been. All of this is perspective to me. People are always telling me, I used to hear people say, please don't get the PhD, man. Don't go the doctorate hard. Don't get the PhD, it's hard. Let me tell you what's hard. It's somebody that buried their son last night. And you talking about hard? It's somebody that's battling cancer right now. And you talking about hard? It's somebody don't know where their next meal is coming from. And you talking about hard? How you compare that with hard? The dissertation is challenging, but not, come on, hard. It's some real life situations. It's some people that'll trade places with you. But from my perspective, it's not about what I went through, it's how can I use it? How can I use it? Everything is perspective. That's why I love the book Perspective. Everything is perspective. It's how you view it. If you view the storm like it's a storm, it's going to be one. But it's not about the storm. It's how can you use what you've gone through to get you to that level. After every storm, the sun come out. It's about how you weather that storm. If it seemed hard to you, you already defeated. It's about that with me. And I used to tell my cohort, if you get to the point where it's time to do the dissertation, you should know how to write. It's just time consuming. I've been through so much to let a paper defeat me. Like you can be smarter than me. You can have more knowledge than me, but you can't outwork me. That's my mindset to this day. You can be smarter than me. You can have more knowledge than me, but you can't outwork me. I've been through the storm. There's something about adversity. It introduces you to who you are as a person. But all of this is perspective. You got to get the book Perspective. I went from that and I closed. I had a 1.8 GPA with a 14 on my ACT. I got a bachelor's degree in education now. I got a master's degree in early childhood. I'm a bestseller of 4 books. I got a Little Tommie cartoon character for the K through 5. I got If Tommie Can Do It, We Can Do It book. I got Little Tommie 4B's book. I love early childhood, so I got a cartoon character with his book to go with it. I'm the CEO of my company, and I just became Dr. Tommie Mabry. I know how far one can go. I hated school. But when you shift a kid perspective, you enhance your perspective. And let me give you the framework for my last 2 minutes of this presentation. Again, I love you all. After we put the framework on the screen of perspective, then I give you my contact information. Miss Melissa, if you can put that framework from the book, and this is what I go off of. When you get the book, this is my heart. If she can get to it, my social media before she bring it up, yes. my social media, my website, my Facebook, my Instagram my website is www.tommiemabry.com. My Facebook and Instagram, follow me now. My Twitter is Dr. Tommie Mabry on all sites. If you follow me, I'm gonna follow you all back. If we can put that up, okay, here we go. If you all can see it, just put in the chat that you can see the pyramid. If anybody right, I can start off with. There we go. Yes, I got it. I love you all so much. But when you think about perspective, why I love the book Perspective I wrote, this is my framework. Perspective, mindset, attitude, effort, and results. Everything steers from your perspective. That's why it's at the top of the pyramid. But when you look at results, you're looking at outcome, test scores, data, achievement. Those are results. But where do you get results from? The effort that's put in. You can't get how you do what you do going to determine the outcome. So in order to get results, it's about the effort that our kids are putting in. I call this the perspective gap, right? When you read the book, you're going to see what perspective gap means. I speak across this country every day, right? And I want educators to see that we are not talking about ability when we do the measurement. We're talking about effort. Our kids can do the work. The mantra of educators when I travel this world, they always tell me, oh, he not dumb. Oh, he can do the work. He just not trying. Okay, but when you look at results, that's why I don't like test scores. Because I know the data I know the variables that make up the test scores. I know the test anxieties. I know the influences that goes into test scores. So I understand this and I try to get educators to see the perspective gap. Every day that I go into a school, when I do the assembly, because when I come, I do a professional development day 1, and I do a school-wide assembly when I speak to the kids. And I ask them by a show of hands, how many of you all, when it's time to take tests, you just bubble in answers to get the job done because you're either tired or you're bored or you just don't feel like reading? Every kid in the school hand goes up. And I stop and I turn to the educators and I say, did you all just see that? We're not talking about ability. We're talking about effort. Every kid hand goes up, but that's the same data that's being reported. And I try to get the students to understand when you just bubble in answers, you making it seem the outside don't understand that. So when they come and rate our district, when they come and rate the school, they don't understand the variables. We're not talking about ability, we're talking about effort. So when you think about results, it's there from your effort. But where does the effort come from? Your attitude, your feeling, your mood. If I'm excited about coming to work, you're going to get my effort and what I'm going to do. I'm going to show good results. But if I don't want to be at work and I'm posting, because I see you all when you post, it'd be 8 o'clock and you'd be like, where's 3 o'clock already? So from your perspective, even your attitude is you just don't feel like, but if you don't feel like being there and you didn't eat last night, all of these variables, it affects your effort, and your effort affects your results. But where do you get the attitude to perform? Your mindset. Your mindset is the beliefs, right? Your mindset is what give you an attitude, right? So my mindset is I feel like working out today. So you know what? I'm excited about being there, right? I'm excited about going to work out. Give you another example. Where we at on mindset? The principal can build the morale in the school around tests. It's test taking time, right? So the principal job is to build the morale. So we get a pep rally going, right? All this that is just the change the mindset of our kid. But what happened 3 or 4 weeks later? They revert back because mindset is not strong enough to stand alone. Mindsets are altered by your mood. So just because I was in the mood today to take the test, tomorrow I'm not. Now, why do I have that kind of mindset? It triggers from your perspective. Your perspective is your outlook of everything, life in general. Your outlook, your perspective, your moral, your beliefs, your lived experience, everything steers from your perspective. I was talking to a lady who told me that for years she couldn't lose weight. And I said, ma'am, you look pretty in shape. She said, I bought the Peloton bike. You know, Facebook get you with the Peloton bike. They get you and you buy it. But what happens 3 weeks later? Some of you all probably got clothes on your Peloton bike now, because I know I got one with clothes on it, because my perspective of working out didn't change. When your perspective of working out changed, that's when it's different. So I asked, I said, well, what happened? She said, my perspective of working out changed. I said, well, how? She said, I couldn't dodge certain food until I watched this Netflix show. And they showed how they process food. I said, oh. Somebody said, there is no clothes on my, it's on mine though, right? But she said, my perspective changed when I looked at how they process food. She said, when I watched that video, she said, every time I try to eat certain food, like I almost throw up, or she said, my perspective of working out changed because I saw how they process food. Even for myself. When I went to the doctor, they told me I was post-diabetic. They told me my cholesterol level was high. And I'm in shape. If you see me, I'm in good shape. But my perspective of working out and eating a certain way changed when I found out that I'm in the post-diabetic stage, and my cholesterol, it's like all of this is what shifts my perspective. Until you shift a person's perspective, they are going to continue or revert back. But my perspective on working out is totally different. So I close with this, you all. I love you all. I love you all. If you can put my contact information on the screen so I can close with this. Every educator in this chat that's on this Zoom, I love you all. I love you all for everything you do. If you never had somebody to tell you how much they appreciate you all, I am doing that today. I am Dr. Tommie Mabry. I wrote a quote that said, I cannot walk in my future with my foot in my past. God bless you all. That's my time. I love you. I love you. My social media, follow me right now on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm going to my phone soon as I leave this call. Dr. Tommie Mabry, screenshot my website, www.tommiemabry.com. Corwin, I love you all. I love you all. God bless.